If you haven't looked into mortgages yet, you'll be fortunate enough not to have been confused by the sheer amount of terms involved in the process. Now, a lot of these terms actually mean the same thing, and a lot of these terms sound similar but have completely different meanings. One of those being is credit score versus credit scoring. Now, a lot of people will worry about their credit scores. You won't necessarily look at it until you're applying for credit such as a loan or a mortgage. And you won't know what is good or bad except what that credit reference agency rates you as, such as Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, ClearScore, Credit Karma, enter anybody else here to avoid being sued. And in reality, that number means absolutely nothing to a mortgage lender. When they do a credit check on you, they won't even see that credit score. And what we do know is it is possible to have a poor credit score for simply having no credit at all. So if you've never had a loan or a credit card, or you still live at home with your parents and you've never had a utility bill in your name, there isn't anything to score you on. So credit scoring is completely different. It's an internal process that lenders will use to determine whether you're acceptable to them or not. Within their system, they build what's known as a scorecard. And to get approved, you need to hit a certain amount of points. The smaller your deposit, then the more points you're going to need. Lenders won't tell us the full formula or everything that you can get points for, but we do know some, and there are only so many fields for us to fill out, so we can start to work out some of the others. Things like being able to have your identity verified online, being on the electoral roll, and having a clean credit history is a great start. Some lenders will give you a point if you're living in rented accommodation as opposed to living at home with your parents, as they can see that you're already used to having your own home and paying bills. Even things like savings, if you're using your own savings as a deposit as opposed to a gift, lenders can see that they've saved that yourself, and that can get you a point. Time in your current job will also help, and also time you've been in employment overall. And then something else known as debt to income, and that's how much of your income you actually have debt against. So things like if you have a £10,000 loan and a £5,000 credit card, you've got £15,000 worth of debt. If you're on a £30,000 salary, that's 50% debt to income. The lower that figure, the better it is for a lender, the more likelihood of getting a point. So as we're filling out your agreement in principle, all that information is being used to determine how many points that you've got. If you score enough, you get the accept decision, and if you don't, then that's when we normally see the notification credit score fail. Even at this point, some advisors will get confused and think, well, you told me that you didn't have any bad credit, you didn't lie to me, did you? They'll email you and ask you for a copy of your credit report, which you'll send, and you'll be worried and normally question whether or not you're going to be able to get a mortgage. The mortgage advisor will then look at your credit report, see that there's nothing wrong, and tell you that it just doesn't make any sense. Your credit score is fine, your credit report is fine, you fit the criteria, it just doesn't make any sense. And in reality, it's nothing to do with you or anything you've done wrong, it's just that you don't fit that particular lender's scorecard right now. But in reality, you probably will fit with another lender. Finally on this, to add probably even more confusion to the mix, and I myself have been on the winning side and the losing side of this as a broker, lenders can change their scorecard whenever they want. It's up to them. So what we can see sometimes, if a lender doesn't get enough business at a certain level, they may change their scorecard requirements to make it easier or harder depending on what they are looking for. So I've had instances with people where we've got an agreement in principle and 2 weeks later they get declined and there's absolutely no change in their personal situation. And I've also had other people come to me from another broker who've been declined and I've got them accepted. And unfortunately, as much as I'd love to claim that it is no magic on my part, it just comes down to knowing how lenders work and even timing.